Welcome back to the channel. RacerX here. I'm here with my good buddy Mo. We are at Courtesy Dodge Jeep Chrysler Ram in Tampa because today we're going to be talking a little bit about the Hurricane. But not just any Hurricane engine, the Cat X. Do you know anything about the Cat X?
Man, wait till you see what he's going to tell you guys about it.
Should be pretty darn cool. If you don't like the Hurricane before, you might after we talk a little bit today about what's coming down the pipe from Direct Connection and on the Cat X. So we'll talk all about it today. Guys, if you need a brand new Dodge, don't forget my buddy Mo has got you down here at Courtesy in Tampa, one of the best sales guys in the entire nation here.
Yes,
and we're glad to have him. With that said, off we go. Here's another really cool thing I like about this particular dealership. You can see they've got all of this awesome inventory. You can see this beautiful Super B Special Edition Scat Pack. We jump over here, they've got a beautiful shakedown. They sell these at sticker, guys. There's no markup on these. This dealership does not do that. Just another reason I like coming here to film. But let's go outside and take a look at the car we're doing the video on. And as you can see directly behind me, I have a 2023 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. And why do I have this car behind me? Because this is currently the only vehicle in the Mopar lineup that features that engine. That is a Hurricane inline six twin turbo, the high output version, 510 horsepower. Believe it or not, this one is actually a little watered down compared to what Direct Connection showed us last year at SEMA, where they showed us the Cat 3, which was 550 horsepower as a crate engine. As we know, when we put these things into a full-size vehicle, they tend to lose a little bit of horsepower through drivetrain loss. But when you start to look at the numbers on the Hurricane, you really start to realize just how impressive this engine is. I realized I actually reviewed this exact vehicle for you in the past, and it is an extremely nice vehicle, very luxurious, but the twin turbo inline six Hurricane is a really nice engine. Believe it or not, this is the upgraded engine over the 6.4 liter Hemi. Now, I know a lot of you diehard Hemi guys are going to say, why in the world would you go with a 6-cylinder over a V8, especially a 6.4 liter V8 that would go in this like in the base Wagoneer? Well, when you talk about the power delivery, 485 horsepower, 475 pound-feet of torque on the naturally aspirated 6.4 liter Hemi V8. This bad boy, 510 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. And believe it or not, this engine, being a twin turbo, actually pulls a lot harder on the top end than the 6.4 liter V8 does. So this is actually the better of the two engines, or the upgraded engine. And I realize the sound may not be the same. I get it. The 6.4 liter Hemi sounds fantastic. For that matter, so does the 5.7. This one does not have the same sound characteristics, but in terms of power delivery, this is by far the more powerful engine, and you can feel it when you drive it. I thought I might jump in out of the rain to make my next point. I glossed over this just a little bit, but in the standard Wagoneer, they have another Hurricane that you can get, the standard output Hurricane, that makes 420 horsepower. And this, of course, being the super luxurious Grand Wagoneer, you're going to get the high output 510 horsepower version. Now, in my mind, both of these two versions are pretty darn watered down. And when you look at the Hurricane itself, I've been a big proponent ever since Dodge announced it, because I know how a lot of other manufacturers have had success with inline turbos and even V6 turbos, and they can be absolutely amazing. These engines are a tuner's dream. You're talking 4 valves per cylinder, dual overhead cam. They're much lighter. I mean, there are so many really good things about the Hurricane. And when you actually talk about horsepower per liter, let's kind of dig into that just a little bit. And you can really kind of start to see why I like the Hurricane. And take your standard output Hellcat, right? Horsepower per liter is right around 115. And then when you jump up to a Red Eye, a Bad Daddy 807 horsepower car, I mean, you start getting into like the 130 to 135 horsepower range. And even when you jump all the way up to the baddest Hemi they make out there, the baddest muscle car ever made, the Demon 170, which I'm super excited about, you're somewhere in the 165 horsepower per liter range. Well, when you talk about the Cat 3 that makes 550 horsepower from direct connection, you are up there around 183 horsepower per liter. And like I said, they haven't even really turned up the wick on this. So when you talk about horsepower per liter and capability, it starts to look quite a bit different. I realize this entire conversation is basically hypothetical because Dodge has not yet announced that they're going to be putting a Hurricane in any of their new performance production vehicles. Are they going to give us a new Challenger with the Hurricane in it? Will the 2024 Charger or the 2025 Charger actually be Hurricane equipped in addition to being an EV? These are all questions that we still need answered. I feel like it's pretty likely that they're going to have Hurricane-based performance cars in the very near future. We just have to wait for that announcement. But here is something for you standard Hemi guys to kind of give some consideration to. And suppose you're a Scat Pack owner and you're just cruising out there on the streets with your 6.4, you're enjoying life, engine sounds great, all that good stuff, and you want to do some upgrades and you want to throw things like long tubes at it. You even want to cam the thing, and then you want to throw an exhaust on the car, ported intake, ported throttle body, E85 tune, all of that good stuff to try and squeeze more power out of that 6.4. And in doing so, you spend between $6,000 and $8,000. I feel like that may be actually kind of on the low side compared to what I've seen a lot of people do, trying to squeeze more power out of their natural aspirated Hemi. And sometimes it's better just to throw boost at it. But with the Hurricane, things change quite a bit. I mean, basically with downpipes and a tune, we'll say you throw $3,000 at the thing, you could make 100, maybe 150 horsepower, leaving the standard stock turbos in that car. I absolutely know that that engine will do that. It's got basically, built internals on the thing. I mean, it is just made to make way more power for way less money. So yes, I realize the Hemi has its merits. However, look at the potential of what you could do with the Hurricane on a budget. And then it sort of flips the script a little bit. When I was at SEMA last year, I talked extensively with the guys at Direct Connection and Dodge, and that is really what fueled my excitement about this Hurricane engine, because they told me that that engine would actually comfortably hold over 1,000 horsepower. So think about that for just a second. So now all of a sudden we're jumping up to like 330, 340 horsepower per liter. And they said that engine actually has no problem with that. So when you really start to look at the Cat 3 at like 510 in this car, 550 as a crate engine, it's not even breathing. We're not even really scratching the potential of what that could be. And the guys at Direct Connection are actually developing the Cat X, which is designed to be the new drag pack engine. And as we know, the current Hemi drag pack engine makes like 1,200 or 1,250 horsepower, 3-liter supercharged Hemi. It is an absolute monster, and that thing is an absolute monster at the track. And think about that for just 1 second. A more modern, considerably lighter, super high horsepower per liter Cat X that can make 1,000 plus horsepower. That is impressive to think about. The Cat X is currently under development right now, and what I've been told about it is 1,000 horsepower actually may be on the low end. I've actually heard numbers from people at Dodge as high as 500 horsepower per liter. That's going to put this thing way the heck up there in the 13 to 1,500 horsepower range. Think about that for a second and what a monster this engine could be. And some people may say, RacerX, why are you so excited about some crate engine that nobody can afford, or nobody's going to be able to put this thing in their car? Well, one, it is pretty cool that you could even order something like that. And two, I feel like this opens up a whole world of possibilities for like a Hellcat type variant. If they do give us, say, a new Challenger, or they start putting this in the new Charger, I mean, everything kind of lines up, right? I mean, we've got a Hurricane Turbo 4 putting out like 264 horsepower or something like that, which matches up really well with the current like GT of the lineup. Then all of a sudden you jump up to like a Scat Pack variant where maybe you get 530 horsepower, somewhere in that range, which is basically taking the Cat 3, sticking it in there. Yes, you got a little bit of drivetrain loss and stuff like that, but considerably more power than the current Scat Pack. And where do we go with the Hellcat variant with a Cat X type offering? Even if it's watered down, it could make 1,000 horsepower. Like I said, I'm so excited that this engine is currently being worked on by the guys at Dodge. I know it's going to be coming out through direct connection at some point in the future. Now, I don't want to overstate things and say, hey, look, you know, it's going to be 1,500 horsepower. We already know that. We don't know any of that, but I do know on good authority that the engine is under development. The engine can do it, and it is very exciting to think about that type of capability. I do want to make mention of one other quick thing, because when I was at Roadkill Nights just a couple of weeks ago, we actually saw a drag pack there that ran, and come to find out, it actually had a Hurricane engine in it, because we're so used to seeing these drag packs go out there and they're loud and they're incredibly fast and they just do these insane wheelies and they're monsters, right? And this Hurricane looked a lot more subdued and it was a lot more quiet. A lot of people didn't even realize it had a Hurricane in it, but it actually didn't run too bad. It was significantly more quiet than you would have expected a drag pack. And even when I saw it run, I was like, what the heck just happened there? Why was it so quiet? Well, it had a Cat 3 in it, but we have to remind ourselves that that Cat 3 was not turned up at all, and a Cat 3 making 500 horsepower or 550 isn't quite the same thing as a fire-breathing drag pack making 1,250 horsepower. It's just completely a different thing. They really just put that engine in that car to sort of start testing on it, do some more development work, and there's still some bugs to be worked out with that particular car and with the Hurricane in general, but at least they're out there doing some testing on the thing, seeing how it's going to run. That engine wasn't turned up at all, and so you would expect, making well under half the horsepower, that it's not going to be as fast as a normal drag pack. So I just want to kind of put it out there. That's why we saw that drag pack that didn't look quite as fast as what we're accustomed to seeing. It was all about R&D on the Hurricane. I know I've mentioned this multiple times in the past, but I am a true performance enthusiast through and through, meaning that I don't just like Hemis and Mopars. I don't just like LS stuff and Chevy or Mustang and Coyote. It's not that I hate imports or anything like that. I appreciate a lot of those as well. And everything really has its merits in my mind. Matter of fact, even the EV stuff, which I know so many of you guys absolutely hate, some of that stuff is really fast, and I have driven them all. And I just appreciate speed, and I can appreciate something kind of new as long as there's a fun factor to it. And I realize a lot of my audience, I mean, you guys just really like the Hemis and refuse to change. If it has anything but a Hemi, it's just a really hard pill to swallow. And to some extent, I get it, because that has been Dodge's identity for a really, really long time. And Dodge now being in the situation where they have to either change or die, it puts us all in a little bit of a weird spot. But when you really think about the Cat X, or even the current Cat that we have, like sitting in this vehicle right here, I get pretty excited about the potential of it. And so that's what I'm looking at. Man, I just imagine a 1,200 horsepower inline six coming down the pipe. And that doesn't mean it would be a production car with that much, but I feel like they could if they really wanted to, and they had enough time to kind of get it dialed in. So I would love to know what you guys think about not only the Cat 3 like in this one, but also the Cat X. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will catch you guys on the next one. So until then, RacerX.